There's a haunting line from Dr. William Augustus Jones that's worth sitting with for a moment. Please don't let me have crossed the ocean only to drown in shallow water. Picture that. Someone survives the deep, the storms, long crossing, and then goes under in water barely up to their waist. That's not just an image, it's a warning. And it's exactly what almost happened to one of the greatest leaders in Scripture. In Numbers chapter 20, Moses and the people of God are camped at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. They are closer to the promised land than they have ever been. And after 40 years of wandering, the finish line is in sight. But Moses is running on empty. His sister Miriam has just died, and Miriam wasn't only his sister. She had watched over him as a baby in the Nile, celebrated with him at the Red Sea, walked with him through every major turn of his life. Grief like that just doesn't pass through you. It settles in. And before Moses can even catch his breath, a new crisis hits. There's no water. The people turn on him immediately, accusing him of dragging them into the wilderness to die of thirst. Never mind that Moses is thirsty too. Never mind that this drought isn't his fault. All the anger lands on him. Moses does what he's always done. He falls on his face before God, and God gives him a simple instruction. Raise the staff, gather the people, and speak to the rock. That's it. Speak, and God will provide the water so that everyone will see it was God, not Moses, who did it. But when Moses stands in front of the people, something in him snaps. He looks at their faces, the same complaints, the same ingratitude, the same demands, and he says, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring water out of this rock?" Then he lifts his hand and strikes the rock twice. Water pours out, the people drink, crisis is over. Not quite. God tells Moses that because he didn't trust God enough to honor him as holy in front of the people, he will not lead them into the land he has spent 40 years walking toward. He will see it. He will not enter it. He crossed the ocean, and he drowned within sight of shore. Here's what's easy to miss. Moses wasn't struck down for a moment of rage out of nowhere. He was carrying grief, exhaustion, and unrelenting pressure with no margin to process any of it. Some who've studied this passage even suggest that when Moses struck the rock, a word he elsewhere uses as a name for God himself, he may have been striking out not just at the people, but at God. That's worth pausing on, because sometimes our frustration isn't really about the people in front of us. Sometimes it's aimed higher. Why isn't God moving? Why did God let this happen? Why didn't God warn me? And here's the hard truth. Frustration and anger left unchecked don't just make us feel bad in the moment. They cloud our judgment. They tempt us to act in ways that feel justified right then and cost us later. Moses missed two things that day: the chance to glorify God in the moment and the chance to walk into everything he'd been working toward for 4 decades. So what do we do with this? First, acknowledge the frustration before it acts for you. Get it out, name it, bring it to God honestly, instead of letting it leak out sideways onto the people around you. Get it out of you. Give it to God. Second, when God gives clear instruction, especially in the middle of your exhaustion, follow it exactly, even when your instincts are shouting something louder. God knew Moses couldn't hold a conversation with that crowd and stay level-headed. That's likely why the instruction was simply speak to the rock, not speak to the people. And then third, protect your margin. Grief, pressure, unrealistic expectations from others, none of that excuses what happened, but all of it explains why leaders and ordinary people alike need space to process before they respond. Leadership, and really life, has no insignificant actions. What we do under pressure has a way of following us. Moses made it within sight of the promise and still lost it. Not because God stopped loving him, but because in one unguarded moment, frustration spoke louder than trust. The ocean is often the easy part to survive because we brace for it. It's the shallow water near the end, when we think we've made it, that catches us off guard. Don't let that be your story. Whatever wilderness you're in right now, grief, pressure, people who won't stop complaining, take it to God before you take it out on anyone else. You've come too far to drown this close to shore. I want to encourage you to join us next week as we deal with the character of Saul and the matter of partial obedience.